Today, I like to go back to my roots and speedrun as many official McDonald's game releases that I can. I say as many instead of every because of some problems I ran into. First, I won't be running Mission to McDonald Land because just look at this.
So far so good. Did you have fun? But only half the job is done.
Second, there were 3 games that I was unable to run. McDonald's de Asobo and its Hello Kitty counterpart both don't have a single working ROM anywhere online. The only 2 ROMs I've been able to find were both for Hello Kitty. However, the only function was being able to turn the page. While editing, I realized that it was because the Sega Pico is controlled by like a little stylus. So even if I had a drawing tablet, it just wasn't gonna work for me. Next, I can't speedrun McDonald's Treasureland Adventures because for some reason I can't kill the second boss. No matter what emulator I used, this guy just did not take any damage whatsoever. I'm literally playing this entire thing by the book and yet nothing. I didn't really feel like buying a Sega Genesis or Sega Pico just for the sake of this video, so yeah, those games are a no. Lastly, I didn't want to play what were basically just generic NES games since I don't want to bore you guys and myself too quickly. So although the title of this video is I speedran every McDonald's game, it's actually more like I speedran every McDonald's game except for the ones that didn't work or weren't entertaining. With that being said, let's begin with my least favorite game, Ronald McDonald in Magical World. This game was released only in Asia for the Game Gear in 1994. However, inserting the cartridge into an American Game Gear system would translate the entire thing. I'll be playing the run at 2 times speed due to the speed of the emulator fluctuating constantly. The game centers around Mr. Joke as he kidnaps all of Ronald's friends, leaving him to go out and save them. Timing begins on the first visible frame of level 1. I held right before I even dropped in as it allowed me to land on this platform. Pulling out my umbrella allows me to slowly glide while midair, allowing me to clear much larger gaps than normal. I could have just ignored every enemy, however I chose to get rid of them since I always get hit. Right here, I want to make a detour down through this cave in order to grab a key. Almost every section of this game has a key that opens the door towards the exit. From here, we can finish the section as normal and move on to the second stage. I want to be careful when jumping as landing atop this frog forces us to ride him. These waterfalls can be quite annoying as I'm pretty sure if I don't jump in time, the game has trouble registering my umbrella. Now I have to once again clear this gap by jumping at about the same time as the frog so that I don't accidentally get thrown into the spikes above. Once I grab the key, I can make my way back and to the door. Right before the door, however, there is this large brown wall. I can either try to bait out the dragonflies hiding within or just take a hit like I do here. It's really annoying because there are 2 instances where this happens. Since I opted to get hit both times, I decided to instantly game end myself in the next section to regenerate my hearts. I decided to get rid of the second dragon as I'll have to make my way past him once I get the key. Now I'm able to drop down to this platform and wait to get rid of that fish. I don't think it's realistically possible to make the jump without taking damage, so I just see it best to get rid of him. This pit can sometimes shoot 2 fireballs almost simultaneously, but thankfully I got a nice cycle. There's a green platform I usually have to wait for, but using the umbrella we can just clear these gaps easily. Those 2 hits were intentional, okay? I was trying to showcase that these burgers regenerate my health bar to full. Once I've collected the key, I can make my way back and head through the exit. Now I'm left to scale the tree. I chose to start from the right as it has more platforms to jump off of and is already low enough by the time I get there. Ignoring how ass my jumps were, going through the exit at the top leads me into the game's first boss fight. I'm able to get 1 hit right off the bat and from there just have to wait until his head peeks out again. If I was exceptionally good at timing, I'd be able to get about 5 hits off. However, I find it more safe to just go for 3 to 4 hits instead. Doing this twice allows us to finish the boss quite easily and move on to the next level, Whole Cake Island. The entire first section isn't really all that complicated. I just had to time some jumps, grab the key, and move on. The next section though has us constantly fighting for our lives to avoid being eaten by a giant Pepe. There's not much I can do here except for avoiding every obstacle until the key spawns, which can take a while. Once the key does spawn, I have to wait again for some blocks to appear. I could have gotten this in one cycle by using the second block to open the door and the third to land, but as you can see I missed horrendously and had to wait for another block. The next section has me running past all the spilled milk until I accidentally got lost as I forgot I was meant to go up. The key is thankfully on our way this time, but I made sure to hug the wall to avoid being hit by this piranha. That would have been really annoying as it is practically near impossible not to get hit in this next glass section. These guys move faster than the speed of light. Ignore the large time jump, I definitely did not fully die. Here I just had to again scale the tower, making sure to get rid of these flies if nobody else since they are so annoying. Since I still had 3 hearts, I was was able to use the damage from this clown to quickly get on this platform. From here I can just get rid of this fly once more and move on to the second boss fight. It's honestly not even worth trying to go for a quick hit. I instead just sat here to get rid of his little minion as soon as possible. Once his spatula is down, I'm able to get one hit off before having to wait until his animation ends. From there, my timing was immaculate and I was able to get 5 hits in before repeating the cycle. I guess you can say I was improving. Ignore the fact that I forgot about his cycle almost immediately. Now that I'm done with him, I'm on to the second to last level, the clock factory. Here I just have to hold right while also getting rid of the enemies hiding in the ceiling. Once done with that, I move on to the most annoying mini boss fight ever. I have to constantly hit this weird ass gear thing while also jumping from platform to platform. Thankfully, a hit makes the gear no clippable and a lot of McDonald's branded items constantly spawn in, allowing you to regenerate your health and even gain an extra heart. Before you say anything, I tried just camping by the door, but the gear doesn't go far right enough for me to get a hit off. The next section is also pretty normal, there's not really much else to say. Now I once again have to scale another tower. The umbrella comes in handy as it's able to get rid of enemies with a single tap. This way I won't get knocked off almost immediately upon landing. Once at the top, I'm now onto the third boss fight. What I like to do here is bring him to the right as he's charging his attack. Since he'll always run off to the left, this allows me to quickly get a hit off. No, I didn't miss him, I just went so fast the game couldn't register the attack. He reappears from the right, allowing me to get another quick hit before he begins his attack. Since he stops in the middle, it's possible to get another hit as he's running away, but I don't go for it as I'm scared of his stupid fireball. Repeat this a couple of times and that's the end of that fight, and I can move on to the final level, the magical castle. Any chandelier with little white bulbs fall on my head, which is why you see me bait them out before moving on. Underneath all these weird golden bugs, we have the key. I wasn't able to use the bottom row to make it back up, so I had to run all the way to the left. The next section is same old, and now I have to scale another tower. I need to use my umbrella but slide off right before hitting the ceiling so that I wouldn't just fall back down. This can get quite annoying. Here I banged my head onto the roof in order to see which side the chest was on to avoid being hit instantly, though I still did get hit. Once at the top, I like to hold out my umbrella as I slowly descend to make sure I don't accidentally land on these little guys. Once through the exit, I'm now at the easiest section of the entire game. I'm able to just ride the currents all the way to the top, only really needing to move to avoid the spikes. Now I'm on the first of 2 stages of the final boss. There isn't really any trick I can use here, I just have to wait for his balls to drop and then ride them up to get a hit. Do this a couple of times and that's the first stage over with. In the second stage, I just have to sit here and continue to get rid of these little pink things, making sure to avoid even the slightest tap as it's near impossible to get rid of them once they've entered your bloodstream. After enough time has passed, Mr. Joke will drop down, allowing for a single hit to end the game and timer, with our run clocking in at a beautiful 32 minutes and 49 seconds. I initially thought this was a world record because I assumed I was the only person to have ever speedrun this game, but upon further inspection, that would actually put me in 3rd place. I genuinely had no idea this game had a leaderboard at the time of writing or playing. Still, whatever. You're talking to top 3 Ronald McDonald world player over here. A win is a win. Now that we have that abomination out of the way, let's move on to a really short speedrun, McDonald's Monogatari. This game was released in 2001 for the Game Boy Color, but only in Japan, which is why everything is in Japanese. Thankfully, all my years of watching anime helped me determine that all I had to do was continue clicking until I got past the menu. If I had to guess the premise, I assume it's just the protagonist gets hired at McDonald's and now has to work there. Who would have guessed we'd have a tragic tale on our hands? Timing starts the moment we're able to take control. The reason this run is so short is because there are only 2 minigames that are actually completable. Every other one just has us doing tasks against a timer with no possibility to complete it before it runs out. Not really my definition of a speedrun. I'm able to start the first task upon entering the establishment. All I have to do here is take and deliver orders, hopefully using my incredible memory to remember which customer ordered what. My second task is to man the register. Here I just have to add these numbers together to get a total and then calculate the change. See kids, math teachers were right. If I had skipped the math class, I would have never been able to speedrun a McDonald's game. Anyways, upon getting the completion screen, that is time, clocking in at 2 minutes and 1 second. An actual world record because not a single person in their right mind has speedrun this game. There's really not much else to do in this world. If we're not working, we're just talking to random people, and I don't even want to pretend like I know what they're saying. Anyways, let's move on to a classic game we all know and love, McDonald's eCDP, also known as the McDonald's training game. This game never had an official release. It was only given to McDonald's establishments in Japan to help train new employees. Why a 2DS game, you may ask? I don't know, ask McDonald's. Regardless, I'm glad a game like this exists, as I'm now able to see what could have been if my local McDonald's hadn't ghosted me when I applied. The run entails completing the main quests as fast as possible. Since many of them are just continuations, I opted into completing every unique quest instead. Timing starts on the first frame we're able to take control, with our first task being to cook some fries. As you can see, I'm moving with the speed of a true McDonald's veteran. I might apply for the CEO position at this point. The score does not matter, all that matters is that I finished the task. The next task has been cooking up some eggs. I refuse to believe McDonald's uses real eggs, so I'm pretty sure this game is a hoax. Either way, we slap it in the freezer and move on to cooking some McMuffin patties, I'm pretty sure. Of course they also go in the freezer, since when did McDonald's have fresh food anyways? This next task may look the same, but don't be mistaken. These are hamburgers, not McMuffin patties. Only a rookie Mc-employee wouldn't be able to differentiate the two. Now it's time to assemble our masterpiece. We of course start with the buns, we slap our frozen eggs and uncooked patties, and boom, the Krabby Patty is complete. I don't know how I got a 68, I made literal perfection. Our last task is manning the register once again. It's actually kind of tricky because I kept struggling as I couldn't read Japanese. Either way, I'm able to serve up the most important meal of the day, serving it up Gary's way, and that is time. Clocking in at a nice 5 minutes and 53 seconds, which, believe it or not, is a world record, as this was an entirely new category I created known as Gary's Way percent. With that out of the way, let's get into Grimace's birthday. This was released last year to celebrate the birthday of Mr. Grimace. The game centers around Grimace having to round up all his friends before it's time to blow out his candles. I honestly was not expecting to turn into Grimace Hawk for this game, but here we are. The first level is pretty simple. The most important mechanic to keep in mind is that grinding on rails gives us a little speed boost. I'm able to use this all throughout in order to quickly make our way past the level. There's this annoying section here where I'm meant to scale the wall using the platforms. However, it's really hard to jump and move around quickly enough to avoid falling off. My brain doesn't work that fast, so I either found myself at just the edge or simply getting hit. Anyways, now we're on to level 2. The first two sections here aren't too difficult, they're just quick little jumps and holding right. This next portion though has an annoying feature I like to call birds. I decided to play it safe as every time I tried to hop over them, I just got hit, as you can see. Once at the soda factory, I'm able to use a Mario strat and just fly through the sky until I reach these metal tubes. I have to wait for the first bird to move due to the lack of space, but can squeeze through the next couple of birds and make my way through the exit. That will be time, clocking in at 3 minutes and 55 seconds, which puts me at 21st place. Realistically, I could have been 6th had I not gotten hit, but whatever, I'm not coping. At least I got a nice cake to award myself for all my efforts. The only other McDonald's game left now are just a bunch of fan games, at least from what I've seen, so I'm obviously not playing them. This video has literally been in my drafts since I made the Peppa Pig one like months ago, ages. I don't remember how long it's been. So I mean, if you guys like this video, I'll may do some more speedruns in the future, who knows. Thank you to every current and new Pookie Club members. I love every single one of you. If you're new here, feel free to check out my other videos as well. That's all for me, and ciao ciao.